Olá a todos, sejam bem-vindos a mais um Educast realizado pelo Centro de Excelência, Ensino, Aprendizagem Transformadora, uma coordenação da Pró-Reitoria de Graduação da Universidade Mackenzie. Esse podcast é realizado em parceria com o NPDA e com o CCL, a quem agradecemos muito a colaboração. Hoje eu estou aqui com uma ilustre convidada, a professora Alessandra Romano, da Universidade de Siena, que vai conversar um pouco com a gente sobre a sua experiência. Ela está aqui conosco desde o final de janeiro como professora visitante, participou do nosso 6º Fórum de Aprendizagem Transformadora e também nós tivemos a oportunidade de ter 5 workshops com a professora, contando as suas experiências e discutindo educação superior e aprendizagem transformadora. Professora Romano, it's a pleasure having you here with us. Thank you very much. And I will start asking you to tell a little bit about you and about your position at the University of Siena.
Thank you so much, Professora Jeanette, for this great opportunity. And I'm Alessandra Romano, and I'm an associate professor in teaching and learning methods, and I'm the coordinator of post-graduation courses for educators and teachers, and also I'm the coordinator of the faculty development activities for the Teaching and Learning Center of the University of Siena. So it's a very pleasure for me to stay here and having this exchange of experiences with this huge center for the excellence in transformative learning.
Thank you. It's an honor for us to have you here. And just explain a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. In your perception, what is transformative learning?
Transformative learning is, maybe we can say, our framework, our scientific home, because it's a theory, maybe one of the most cited theory about adult learning, that explains that adult people learn not only when they acquire new information, but also when they put in question their previous assumptions. And they try new roles, new schemes, new way of behavior, and new way of acting. So it's very important because we are talking about a theory of learning in which we believe that there is a transformative potential for people, and in our case, for the students.
Could you explain a little bit more? You talk a lot during the 6th Transformative Learning Forum, transformative learning and a strategy for innovation in higher education. Can you explain what are those strategies and why it is so important for an innovative education?
So the 6th Transformative Learning Forum was dedicated to the topic of innovation. And I tried to underline how much we can bring innovation through transformative learning from an organizational viewpoint. So we spoke about how to develop institutional strategies for scaling up transformative learning, like the foundation of a Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and also how to develop innovative methodologies for professors, for teachers, for educators, in order to increase the level of engagement of our students, and also in order to push them, to support them, to critically reflect about what they know and what they could do differently according to what they know and share with the others. So we have developed a framework of potentially innovative strategies that professors can envelop in their teaching practices in order to support students' critical thinking and students' capacity of thinking creatively and reflect on it.
And it goes beyond the technical knowledge that the students have to know to go through during the university life. So innovation is more about than cognitive knowledge, and it we also need to understand who we are, what interested to us, and critical reflection help us to make this self-reflection approach.
It's very important and really super important. When we think about a traditional class, we think about the professor who explains the information, the content, the lesson, and the students that just listen. We hope that they listen. Sometimes they just scroll down their phone and maybe do the assignment and the tasks for the final semester test. But this is the content, the content-based learning, the traditional way of thinking about learning in academia. The mission of the academia is really to train and to educate the future citizens. And so we need to increase our capacity of cultivating critical reflection, especially for our students.
Yes, it's interesting that you said about how to increase citizens during the university trajectory of the students. And I would like to ask you how transformative learning can elevate the social impact of the students.
That's super important because transformative learning can be, and also the impact of transformative learning on the professional practices, the teaching practices of the professors can have a strong impact in supporting the development of complex skills, soft skills in our students. Just think that it's not just support the reflection on the past, but also the kind of reflection through the experience that is helpful for students to understand what to do. What is the next? What can I do? What can I change? We call this the concept of a future ability of learning. The fact that this learning, the kind of reflective learning that students can develop through academia is not just for now, but has an impact on their future, has an impact on their possibility to act as a proactive protagonist in their career when they will enter the labor market and also in this super complex society.
Sure. And going further in this discussion, and one thing that you explored a lot during the workshops was the discussion about employability. How can transformative learning impact the employability of the students?
Very, very that has a strong impact. Just to think about the actual society after the pandemic. We have a super constantly changing society, super complex labor market with some kind of flexibility and insecurity and ambiguity for sure. And transformative learning is the strategic leverage for helping our students understand how to move in this complex world, super polarized society with a lot of social issues, issues about the environment, issues about sustainability, issues about the digital transition, issues about the social inequities, and our students can develop the kind of critical attitude that help them in a very transversal way, whatever kind of professions they will do in this complex super world. Most important is that transformative learning can help them understand how they can reinvent themselves according to this new constantly changing scenario. Probably our students will do in the future some kind of professionals that right now don't exist yet. How will they reinvent themselves? How will they reconfigure themselves, their perspectives, in order to deal with these controversial dilemmas they will face in the future? This is the key. This is the one of the perspectives according to which transformative learning impact on our students' employability.
From the perspective of the employer, do you think there is already a perspective to hire students with more transformative learning perspective, especially in Italy? Do you see the employers there with as someone who is looking for new professionals with another perspective?
So important. I can tell you that we work very strictly with organizations and companies in order to understand what will be the skills requested from the employee, for the employers, for the future. And they say that adaptivity, capacity of transforming, adaptivity, creativity will be the central skills, the key skills requested for the future. They say the technical skills can be acquired, but it's very important to have these intersectorial, multisectorial professionals that are capable to manage complex problem solving, that are capable to reflect through the action and not just have a dichotomic thinking and binary thinking about yes or not or white or black. So they say technical skills can be trained, but complex problem-solving skills and critical reflection, those are the skills for the future.
Exactly. I agree with you. And we are trying to develop these abilities in our students here at the University Presbyterian University Mackenzie. But also, I think the employees need to have more open view to the whole of the university in broadening these perceptions of the students and help them to develop these not soft skills, because it's not the correct name, but these skills that are so important for their development and go beyond the content, the specific content that they need to master.
And if I can add, during the workshop that we have with the professors in the last 3 weeks, we had the opportunity to have really good exchanges of practices and experiences, and the professors agree about intercepting these new reflective skills that are requested for the students. And they say it's very important for us to create this continuous experience of learning in the courses, in the classes, in order to help to challenge our students' perspectives and also to support them develop new meaning schemes, a new capacity of adjusting, a new capacity of transforming their actions, and also developing open mindset, more open mindset. So very important, and we had the opportunity to share this thought also with the professors during the workshops.
Yes, I like your idea of growing mindset, because transformative learning is much about this. And during our education, we are so training to look the content. The professor give us all the problems already set, and we have to give an right answer from the point of view of the professor. So the students don't have this ability to reflect upon the problems before the professor gives the problems to them.
Yes.
So it's changed the way we think education and how we deal with questions, discussions, reflections during the class. And if we want to students transform, we need professors transformed.
That's so important. I was exactly thinking this, like we need to start from ourselves as professors and caring about our professional development, and also our exercise of self-reflection and reflection with the others, collaborative reflections, because it's so important. And the work that you have done so far with the Transformative Learning Forum and with the SEAT goes exactly in this direction, working with the professors for self and collective reflection in order to support their professional identity development and the quality of their teaching practices to have an impact on students' future. amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to compliment with you.
Oh, thank you very much. And adding this, since we was born, we create some habits of mind. And they turn very crystallized in our behavior, in our actions. So sometimes we needed a space and opportunities to make questions for themselves and for the others, and have a dialogue that open our mind. So I think university should have more space for reflection, and not just individual reflection, but collective reflection.
That's important.
And how do you think the university can open more spaces for reflection?
That we can think about bottom-up approaches and top-down approaches. So we can see the double side and the complementarity of the two actions. So we can have more top-down strategies, like, for example, you have the Max Stellar project. You have for the students that is so important with the curricular and co-curricular activities. And you see how you have top-down strategies, the curricular activities, but also the co-curricular that enhance the part of informal learning that support students' growth, open the creation of a more open mindset and so on. So it's very, very important. And from the other side, you have the same kind of top-down and bottom-up approaches also for faculty professional development. You can have initiative like the 6th Transformative Learning Forum that are much more top-down, but at the same time you have a community of practices, grupos de trabajos, the hackathon experience, for example, that really engage professors in working together collaboratively, in think out of the box in a very super creative way, and also in developing the kind of collective reflections that help them in finding new solutions to implement in their daily practices. Very important to continue in these directions, caring together about formal and informal experiences, top-down and bottom-up approaches.
Perfect.
And if I can just add the last thing, also the workshop that we have together with the professors from the School of Management, Business, Social Sciences, Statistics and Engineering that took part in the workshop that we held here at Presbyterian Mackenzie University, were moment of international exchange, very important, because they not only confront each other in a group, in small groups or in broad groups, but they also confront each other with international perspectives, with the colleagues that are facing the same issues, same problems, same difficulties, but in the opposite part of the world. So important also for creating experience of familiar and not familiar learning.
Yeah, exactly. And during the workshops that you gave us here, we discussed a lot about methods for the assessment of transformative outcomes. And you presented a lot of suggestions for questions to be addressed to students to lead them to this type of reflection. So to help professors to elaborate questions that promote critical reflection, what kind of concern should they consider when structuring them?
It's important that the professors feel that they are not forced to do all the methods that we present them.
Great point.
They can take some insight from a conversational framework, a protocol of questions, or a rubric, or for example, the survey items that we explored together, in order to see when and how to implement those reflections reflective prompts in their classes or, for example, in the kind of a task that they give to their students. So we offer a panoramic, a repertoire of methods to promote reflections and at the same time to evaluate reflective outcomes. And they can choose in a very modular way what they can introduce in each course, according also to the students' availability, according to the content of the course. There is a high degree of personalization that they can follow, and this is very important because sometimes you can work much more on relational aspects, for example. Other times you can work a lot on reflection outcomes, and it's important that they have now they have at their disposal a repertoire of methods for reflective prompt and at the same time measuring and assessing qualitative or quantitative methods for measuring and assessing reflective outcomes.
Yeah. Very interesting that you are saying that, because I think it helps professors to not get very anxious about this. You don't have to do all, and you have to adapt this to your class, to your content, and see how the students respond for more reflective activities that they are not used to do that. So one thing that I used to say that the professor should try.
Yes.
Go beyond what we are doing, open space for this discussion and see the results, because these reflective results can give for professors information about the students that they never had before.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that we discussed in the second workshop about the experience I had with this huge class of 300 students contemporary. And they say, how could you be conducive to a kind of a reflection with the 300 students in classroom contemporary? And I said, at least I tried. I tried with a lot of small techniques, very brief, at the beginning of the class, during the class, at the end of each class, and at the end of the semester. And then I tried to see what kind of impact in terms of reflective outcomes I could have. For some students, there's no high evidence of reflective, transformative outcomes. For other students, yes. But those information are very useful for me to implement and to ameliorate my course next time. Also understanding the difficulties, the criticalities, and the kind of weaknesses, because we are human and we are not perfect. So it's very important also to collect errors and mistakes in order to improve our teaching practices.
Perfect. And our time is already running up, but I would like to make just two questions. In the adaptive teaching workshop, you mentioned using artificial intelligence as a training resources for students. And technology can help professors improve their pedagogical practice, but at the same time are a lot of caveats. Could you explore a little bit them?
We live in a super connected and super digitally advanced world. Probably our students know how to use technology better than us. That's a matter of fact. And maybe our students will use the metaverse as we are using our iPhone or smartphone now. So we cannot skip, at least, to make a reflection about digital connection and also the kind of on-life experience that we are doing. We are always connected. We cannot say that there is an online and offline moment, because we are always super interconnected. What can we do? First, we need to ask our students to analyze together this in order to develop a mutual digital awareness about the use of technology and the use of artificial intelligence. And then we should not have a polarized thinking about technology, just to say that it's the best or it's the worst. We should see what we can do and how technology can be helpful, especially if we want to keep our students engaged, sometimes for the students' responsive system, and also for creating a wall connection with our students. We should not say it's good or it's bad. We should say it's a matter of fact. Let's see what are the weaknesses and what are the pros of this.
Perfect. And take the best of this.
Take the best, yes.
And finally, the last questions. Oh, the time passed so fast. What message would you like to leave for Brazilian professors?
So, first message is that I really want to thank you, Professora Jeanette, and all the magnificent rector of the Presbiteriana Mackenzie University, because I had the opportunity to meet so super engaged professors, group of professors that are really creative, stimulating, interested in working on their professional identity, and that put themselves in play, in the game. Exactly. That's so important. Yeah. We were together to learn each other, from each other, and this was super important. So I just want to ask them to keep this level of engagement and to keep this level of passion for what they do and for the future of their students, because they can be the change agents and innovation leaders of this university.
Thank you, Professora Alessandra Romano. Oh, it was an incredible conversation.
Thank you.
Eu espero que vocês tenham aproveitado essa conversa, tanto quanto eu aqui com a professora Alessandra Romano, que tem tanta coisa para compartilhar conosco. E já convido você para divulgar esse podcast e também para vir para o próximo. E assim vamos crescendo nessa discussão conjunta por esse grande desafio que é a docência no ensino superior nesta nossa época. Obrigada e até lá.